Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learned along the way. I'm delighted to introduce Bri Stanford to you today. She's a virtual administrative assistant turned online business manager and the owner of the Raxx Creative. After years of managing high volume clients in the retail, medical and entrepreneurial fields, Bri started her company to allow her more flexible hours and a chance to channel her gifts and also spend time with her growing family. The Raxx Creative provides creative business solutions for small and large businesses worldwide. So welcome to the program, Bri.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so excited.
So tell me and the listeners, what makes a virtual assistant suddenly think, you know what, I should start my own online business and go global? What happened there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the transition for me, and I'm sure for many of you, is that we get stuck in this 9-to-5 grind. And for me, 9-to-5 just didn't work, especially with a growing family when kids are sick or school is out. It's just not as flexible as we wish it was. It's very stringent. So for me, I have an arts background. I've always been kind of like the artsy fartsy person who like, I know what time it is, but I'm always like, what time is it? Where am I supposed to be? So going from a 9-to-5 and transitioning into a work from home situation for my family just worked. Not only schedule flexibility, but also I find that my stress levels are lower. I'm my own boss. I do, I work for my clients and we have deadlines and we have, milestones that we want to meet. However, this is my field of expertise and the client is aware of that. And then I am allowed to kind of guide their business and help them grow organically versus being in a 9-to-5 where it's extremely stringent and the boss is the boss because they're the boss. And that's not always the case. There are usually some very, intellectual people on the team who may have better ideas. And when you transition into this space, you're allowed to kind of express that a little bit more and to really be the expert and take ownership of what you present.
Okay. And that's true. Not always the boss is the one making the decisions as well. There's often people sort of in that sort of chain of command. You actually want to know, well, who's involved in this project and who actually needs the value add and who's going to be making those decisions before you often get to the CEO.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So with that flexibility then, so you were talking about being a virtual assistant, but you were still mainly working 9-to-5. Is that correct? Before you went into your online business?
Yes. So before I went into my online business, I was working a traditional 9-to-5 in a medical office. I was doing, what's so funny is that I was doing exactly what I'm doing now, which is helping someone to grow their business, to figure out whatever strategies we need to implement on social media, our marketing, our website design. So the same exact thing I was doing in the office, I'm now doing in my home. It's just, there's a little bit more freedom in scheduling and then also in creativity.
Yeah. So how does that work around your family environment then? Do you just declare, okay, well, I've got 7 days now, or do you, I can take the business when it comes and use those extra hours, or are you quite structured still on getting that balance right? What does it look like for you?
For me, it's a mixture of both because life is extremely unpredictable. There's no way that I can say from every day from 8-to-5, I'm going to be work, work, work. No, you can't do that realistically and creatively. So throughout my day, I bring my little one to school in the morning and then I'll come home and I'll do a workout or something just to kind of get my juices flowing. And then after that, I'll take an hour, maybe 2. Little block of time. I'll see which client needs my attention first that day. I have a lot of systems in place that kind of tell me what to do. And I spend a lot of time creating those and making sure they tell me what to do because half the time I'm like, I don't even know. So I follow whatever list I've created for myself that day. And then I'll block out my schedule. So I'll do 2 hours of work and then I'll take a break. I'll go for a walk or I'll read a little bit of my books, which I have right behind me. I keep them close to me, whether it's a quote or a chapter on a book that just kind of revs my energy. And then I'll go back in for a 30 or 45-minute session. So my day kind of just ebbs and flows as the work comes, but my clients and my clientele is very consistent. So I work with, a roster of clients, and then I'll have a couple one-off projects from a client here or there. But for the most part, my work is predictable in terms of what I'm delivering. My day is just really flexible. So I'm able to take those breaks when I need to.
Oh, that is so fantastic to hear. I love it when I hear women doing that because it's just so wonderful if you can get that balance of family and career.
It
So tell
really
me,
is.
so tell us about just probably 2 or 3 different types of clients then. If you said you've got a variety of clients, what sort of variety are you working with?
Absolutely. So right now, actually, my client roster consists of health coaches, which I find they're really fun to work with because health coaches, they're like, they know what they want, they know how to motivate, and all I have to say is, okay, Susie, I need this to happen. Are you okay
Yeah.
to go on that journey? And they're like, yeah, let's
Oh
do it. And I'm like,
yeah, bring it
yes.
on.
Like,
High
yes.
energy. Yes.
But then I also have people on the marketing side. I have a PR firm that I work with, and then the restaurant side, a couple restaurants wanted like a website revamp. So my clients come from all over the place. And it's really, really interesting and fun to see that they honestly all have a common like goal or denominator. You have to kind of speak their language a little bit to make it work.
Okay, so they've all definitely got their own little language. What sort of differences do you notice in different industries that they're going for? What is their main goal?
Yeah. So for health and fitness coaches, obviously it's spreading the message about what they bring to the table, why they're different. And then there's a lot of discipline in their strategies, which honestly I probably need more of. So that's probably why I'm gravitating towards them. And then on the restaurant side, it's very go, go, go and busy. And they have a lot of things going on. And I'm the person who kind of tethers it all together and brings it down. And then let's see, who else am I working with? The PR firm, they're extremely creative. So they feed my creative side. We may be a little bit more in the clouds, but again, I kind of tether it all together and wrap it up for them in a bow and then figure out how we can present that. So all of my clients kind of feed different sides of myself now that I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
And it's really important that if you're working with clients that you kind of find that variation.
Yeah. And I love that collaboration that you actually do need when you're growing your business to a certain level, that you can't do it all yourself. You'll burn yourself out. And it's also not right. You want to team up with firms, other companies that sort of balance you and extend your service offering. Is that what you found?
That is 100% true, because the problem that we run into, a lot of entrepreneurs, they get to that level where they're trying to hold all the eggs in the basket. And the thing is that if that's not your zone of genius, if you can, write content, but that's not where your passion is, it's going to show and it's going to be extremely evident. So with every business owner that I speak with, I say, okay, what are the tasks that you can do, but they don't bring you joy or happiness or don't make you feel good? And they'll list them out and they're like, but I can do it. And I'm like, but you shouldn't, because that's not where your zone of genius is. That's not where you're going to shine. And it's definitely not going to make us excel as a team. So that's when we bring on other people, and I'll curate those people for them. I'll task them out. I'll let them know how the project works, and then I'll manage them for them. That way the business owner is only working in their zone of genius. And that's really when we see some magic. When they're only working in that space, it is amazing.
Yeah. And I've been learning that a lot in the last couple of years myself, of just going, yeah, that's right. I could do it, but it's going to take me a lot of time. It's not my natural desire. And so it's actually better to spend your time in the areas that excite you, provide more energy and provide more business for you. Ultimately, why wouldn't you
That's
be spending your
exactly what
time
happens.
in that space and outsource other areas? And then the people in that area love doing that.
They do. They do.
It's such a
Absolutely.
win-win. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are the biggest stresses your clients have?
The biggest stresses that they have is, again, trying to do it all, because you see, these advertisements on Facebook and Instagram, and you see the CEO and they're making $1 million and they're like, I did it all on my own. And it's like, there's no way you did that all on your own. But it's the perception, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
these business owners want to do everything on their own, and they want to be, the most successful and at the top of their game. But you can't get there without other people supporting you and other people guiding you when it's their zone of genius. So if you have someone who's a strategist, let that strategist shine. Let them tell you what they're good at and let them help your business grow. Although you can do it, we're not saying you're incapable, but it's just letting go and allowing yourself to delegate and allowing someone to help you along the way. That's the transformative place.
100%. So what sort of emotional body language do you see in clients? That moment when they go, I know I have to give this up to someone else, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because I've always done it. I've always done everything myself. What happens to
So
them?
the body language at that point is really tense. Number one, because they're probably really close, if not already over the edge of like burnout. And they're
Yes.
trying to do it all. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because right now I have two clients, one who has gone through that process of letting go and one who's like on the verge. and my calls for them are very different. They're in similar spaces, but my call for the one who's finally decided to let go, she's very laid back. Our meetings are very fun. Our team is very relaxed. We know what the flow is of the day. And the other, I can tell the team is a little stressed. The owner is a little stressed. And I'm like, look, just hold my hand for 2 seconds. Let me guide you. And in about a week or so, she's going to allow that. She's starting to mold a little bit.
Yeah.
And once she does that, our meetings are going to be the same. Our days will be the same.
And it's trusting in you. It's a big honor, isn't it, when you're taking that responsibility for someone else, that they're giving that to you, you know?
It is. And I love it like a baby. I love it like a baby. All their babies are my babies. And that's honestly the core of it. You know, when you build your business, it is your baby. You know every part of it. You know when it cries, when it doesn't. And you want to take care of that. And you want to have that ownership. But at the same time, you have to realize that that baby has to grow a little bit. And you have to allow it to move the way it needs to without you holding it back.
So how do people in this modern era, particularly over COVID time when we've suddenly had to become remote and more diverse, whether we wanted to or not, how do those people know the difference between virtual assistant companies, you know, who to get to help them? There seems to be, you know, so many different ways of people spruiking their thing. How do you know the difference of someone who's going to be high quality and really a wonderful support for you and join the team and be high energy, as opposed to someone else who's just trying to start their own business in this field?
That's a good one. So every time that I go to vet someone, or even when I bring on a client, I kind of do it both ways because this is really important. A personality test. So they seem really fun and really simple, and you're like, oh, that's so silly. But learning what type of personality is coming into your space, whether you're hiring someone or whether you're being hired, I always ask both sides. There's a personality test. I think it's 16personalities.com. So I'll send that to them and they'll send it back, their result. And then it lets me know what type of person they are. How do they work? How do they feel? How do they receive? Because in this digital world, I mean, you know, a text can be read a million different ways. You can say one thing and all of a sudden it's the wrong thing or the right thing. So knowing what type of personality I'm going to be working with is the first place that I start when I bring someone on or hire someone, because I want to know how I need to receive or how I need to give to them. It's all about nurturing. So when you understand where they're coming from, the type of personality or work ethic they have, then your relationship on your end, you got to do a little work. Sorry, but you do. But on your end, you'll learn how you can nurture them and how you can bring them in, or how you need to educate them on what you're doing. I don't understand starting anywhere but there. That is the only way that I can understand where people are coming from.
Okay. And that is fantastic, and a really good reflection that you're about the quality of the relationship and what you're wanting to achieve, because people who just accept anyone, you know, that's not going to ultimately help your brand, because you want the person who works with you to be raving about Bri, saying, you know, oh my gosh, Bri changed my life. I can't believe how relaxed I am. I can't believe how much my business has grown because of the help. You know, that's what you want for anyone who's part of your business, to be out there flying the flag for you, as opposed to, you know, paying some money. Okay, you did my social or you built the website and then you're gone, you know. And
you'll find that if you don't invest in that relationship initially, that the turnover rate's going to be really high. It happens every time.
Okay. So tell me about the VA Fast Track. What did you do to create that?
So VA Fast Track, I've been planning to make a course for a couple of years now, and I just never had the courage to do it. And 2020, before all of this craziness happened, my number one word that I put on my computer and on my walls was vision. And I know that there's a certain place where I want to be, and there are a certain amount of people, not a certain amount, but there are people that I want to help. I started running into a lot of people who were trying to get into this space and trying to understand how it works, because if you haven't been in the online space, the VA space, the OBM space, you're like, what are these letters? What do you do? Oh, you play on the computer all day. Great.
Exactly.
So in coming in to create this, I just started helping people, and I realized that the information I was giving to them, although simple to me, was making massive shifts in their lives and their businesses. And I was like, well, I said I was going to do it. Why am I not doing it? Like, I had to kind of kick myself in the butt a little bit. And then COVID happened, and I was like, okay, you have a lot of time, and there are a lot of people right now who really need to know how to operate online, because it's not just saying, okay, I'm great at this skill and I'm going to offer it, I'm going to do this for you. There's so much that goes into it, down to what type of personality you want to work with. So in looking at all that and realizing how many people I was trying to help, I said, I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to automate myself, and I'm going to open up something that I wish was created when I started. I did take a course when I started becoming a VA and when I was going through my journey, but there was so much that wasn't there. And there was so much that, I was like, man, I made all these mistakes. How can I get to this place faster? I just want to be better. So I made a lot of mistakes, and I realized that there were probably a lot of people who were making the same ones. And I felt like there was an easier way to come about being a VA. And I just wanted to help more people. It's necessary at this point. There's no avoiding it.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to learn, and that's what I love as being a coach myself, that it's like, you don't have to have all the problems that I had. I've learnt them for you, and I'm now happy to pass them on and to teach you and to share that knowledge and go partner with you on your journey. And there will be new issues that they find, in their context.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we all learn off each other, right? We're constantly learning. So you said there were things in your course that weren't in other courses. What sort of examples would that be?
Well, like I said, I've taken a couple different courses, and and this is just my learning style, I enjoy a conversation. I enjoy working through a problem with someone, or just having someone that I can easily, shoot a little message and say, hey, I'm really stuck on this issue. I just don't know how to get around it. Google is not helping, because that's what we resort to. So my course is 7 weeks long, but the thing that sets it apart is that I have group coaching calls every single week. So as long as you are in the course, and honestly for the lifetime of the course, so forever, you are invited to my weekly group coaching calls. What that means is I sit down, number one, I check with everyone who's on the call. So we all get to speak. I want to know how you're doing. I want to know where your mood is, where your emotions are, where your family is, where your mind is, because honestly, if all of that is disheveled, you're really not going to get anything out of your week. Period. Yeah. So we start out with that, and then we really, kind of go through the materials that they're going through in the course. We problem solve together. We sometimes cry together. I mean, it happens. Some weeks are better than others. And then I also offer 3 one-on-one coaching calls so that I can really sit down with them and make sure that everything is in place and all of their questions are answered. Because if they're confident going through my course, when they finish, they're good to go. And honestly, so far, everyone halfway through already has clients. And I'm like, okay, finish your course though. Finish all the material. So it's been such a good experience, and I love it. Honestly, I like to connect with my students. I want them to reach me.
And that's a fantastic example to those listening on pivoting your business, seeing an opportunity during COVID. That's it. You're already working in this space and having your own clients, and then realizing there was a gap in the market that you can sort of then pop an online course and then help others at the same time. You've really diversified your business and made a massive difference to your opportunities and your earnings, as well as what you're doing with other people. So well done you.
Thank you. For responding. And of course, the VAs that graduate, they're kind of qualified, so then I can pull them in for my clients. That was the other side. I was like, oh, they're qualified. They can work for me now with other clients. So that's the added bonus.
So those who are listening in going, oh, it's really great that Bri got all these clients and it sort of sounds easy. How did you go about, when you first started finding clients, what sort of strategies did you use to reach out and make things start happening in the beginning?
Yeah. So when I left my original 9-to-5, I realized that everything I was doing for this person, I could honestly do from my living room at my laptop. So I used my first client was my previous 9-to-5, which for some people may be, viable. For some, it may not. But reaching out in your community, posting on your Facebook saying, hey, this is my new business venture. I'm looking for people to support. I'm even, looking for people to test me out. Let me, have a go and let's see what happens. Yeah. It's just putting yourself out there. You have to kind of let go of the fear. Fear will do a lot of things to you. And one day I said, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. So I turned that client over. And then after that, I started posting. Friends started sharing. I reached out to so many businesses. And let me be honest, it's not easy. You just have to have the determination and the drive. And I knew that this was the lifestyle I wanted. So I would have done anything at that point. So I still, to this day, I reach out constantly. I am constantly talking, just like I'm talking to you, constantly talking to people about what I do and why I love it and how I can help. So for anybody that's looking, just don't give up. Turn the people that you know one person that has a business, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's what we need to be sharing constantly, that it's, those people who make it look so easy, it's not. They're all out there growing their business, having knockbacks, bouncing back again, building their resilience time and time again. You've really got to be quite tenacious and passionate about what you're doing. And I find it's the why you're doing it. And obviously I'm hearing in your message, it's so you can work flexibly, so that you can be at home on flexible hours around your family lifestyle, as well as growing your business as a businesswoman, and also empowering others to grow theirs as well. So when you've got the reason, it's knowing a clear reason as to what's driving you, then it's like, yep, I got to knock back, I'm just going to keep on going. And that fear is real. There's lots of fears, aren't there, that surface. Wow, fear of embarrassment. What if it fails? What if I don't get good testimonials? What if I invest heavily, or everyone goes, you're crazy, quitting your job, and all of those sorts of things. They're normal, real fears, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And they're validated. Be aware of them, validate them, acknowledge them, and then push them to the side.
Exactly. And then don't feel them. Just go,
like,
yep, that happened again. Not going to entertain you. That's right. Move on, because it's only the future that we're progressing towards. We don't want to anchor any of that unnecessary rubbish into our lives. So you work with a lot of companies who are then becoming, very successful. You see a lot of successful people. What do you see as success?
Ooh. Many people will say metrics, which metrics are my first love. I like to see growth. I like to see numbers growing. But honestly, the most success and where I measure it is in my client's happiness. I actually have a client who didn't know if she needed an OBM, didn't know if she needed help or VAs. And I went in and we started digging, and we just started digging and digging and really digging. And at one point she was like, where do we go from here? And I was like, up, that's all we're going to do. So we kept working at it, and it took several months. And now we're at the point where she looked at me most recently and she said, you know what? I never would have imagined that I would have so much ease in my business. I thought that I had to, put my nose down and grind every day and almost kill myself to make it successful. And she said, you have no idea how you've changed my life and just my way of thinking about my business. And that is literally what I work for every day. The numbers are cool too, but
yeah. Numbers are cool, but it's that sense of freedom of I can be doing what I love doing, and in a scalable way, with all the mechanics of all the things that are not your genius zone, as you call it, needing to exhaust you and bring you down.
Yeah.
Is there a formula of, you work with a lot of, when you're going from small to medium to larger type companies, is there a formula, whether it's a dollar term, number of sales, that you've got enough revenue to support an infrastructure with VAs and so forth to be able to do that? So if you're that business person who's still going, yeah, well, I still have to do, my website or my socials or writing for magazines or whatever, at what level of money or revenue does the person need to get to that you could go, you know what, I've got a whole infrastructure of VAs who can assist me to make it look easier than it is?
So we all look for that magic number, and it's actually not about the number. The first thing that you want to think about is physically, and like thinking about time. So I guess there's your number, time. How much time do you have allotted within your day to get things done? Yeah. If you are at the point where at 5 o'clock, you're like, oh, it's going to be another 2 a.m. kind of morning, you're probably at that level. And this is the thing about hiring a VA. So when I look at VAs and when I hire VAs, I don't only say, okay, what is your hourly rate? But when I talk to my client, I say, how much is this worth to you? How much is it worth for you to get an 8-hour night of sleep so that you can actually work tomorrow? Is it worth $150 a month? And they say, oh, well, that's just a dinner or a night out. And I'm like, awesome. Let's go and subcontract that. Let's get somebody to do a couple hours for you at this rate, and we're going to get this one task off your plate. So it's not actually a dollar amount. It's where you can actually withstand the force of your business, because at some point it becomes a force. And I'm sure you're aware of when that force happens and you're like, yes, I just can't keep up. Yeah. So hiring a VA does not have to be this astronomical number. It can actually be something, below $500, or I pay my blog. Let me be honest. I get 3 or 4 posts a month and it costs me $150. And I thought to myself, that's me going to get my hair done. Yeah. I was like, I can afford that. It's not out of anyone's reach. It's really about your budget. So when you're looking at hiring VAs, or when you're at that point where you're just like pulling your hair out, think to yourself, how much time do I actually have throughout the day? How much time do I need to kind of take back for myself? And what can I logically sacrifice to take care of my needs? Because as a business owner, it would be wonderful to be like, I've got $1 million and I'm going to pay everybody. But we all start from somewhere. So if you're starting from somewhere, say, okay, what can I actually sacrifice throughout the month? Whether it's your Netflix and your Hulu, can you get rid of that so you can pay for a VA because you need some more time to sleep or you need more time to work on your business? So where can you allocate extra funds to that and make sure that you're taking care of your business? Because if you're not reinvesting, then you're just throwing money out the window.
I think that's brilliant advice. And it's also a good reminder for people to think you don't have to, in that old model of, a recruit in the office, it's kind of like, oh, well, I don't have the money to have a digital marketing person or whatever. Whereas it can be just by the hour, and that's it. There's so many projects, that's right, that you can afford, whether it's writing an article for a magazine or whether it's, getting some, your social sort of all prepared and scheduled, for a month or two, whether it's just, doing the behind the scenes updates on your website, SEO. There's so many aspects of the business now that you can go, okay, we'll just pick one of them and pick a couple of hours. And also you can test that. What was the return on your investment? How did it feel? Was it helpful? You don't have to go all in and spend a lot of money. It's definitely a bite-sized opportunity that, that's right. Sleep is a major influential factor. I can definitely.
That's the biggest one I see.
I love your top today. It's like nap queen, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, because that's it.
Hey.
Once you, as a businesswoman, when you sort of go, well, I've got that many hours, and then how do I want to use them well, and what can I outsource for an appropriate amount, and then what's the return of the investment? And so that's right. It will be, efficiency, scalability. It might be just that I hate doing it. It takes me forever, and it takes my time away, and it might be away from my business, or also might be away from my family, that I actually do want to be freed up so I can go to my child's Saturday morning sport or something like that, and I'm not sort of always doing the task. So there's many aspects that I think you need to sort of look and go, okay, well, what is it costing me, as well as, personally and my business, and then also where's the exponential growth? That if you get an expert in that area, what difference will they make for that investment?
It makes a massive difference. I recently had a client who said, I really love Pinterest and I want to do it, but it's taking me a lot of time. It would take her, 2 or 3 hours a week to get it done. I said, look, give me 1 hour a week. We're going to go ahead and do it. And actually, I ended up just doing the entire project in 2 hours for the entire month. Scheduled it out, exponential growth, because that's my zone of genius. And I said, oh, that was only 2 hours. You don't need 8. We're good to go. And she was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, we're done.
That's just too good to be true.
You can absolutely do that. It just, don't be afraid to let the person know who you're hiring. Look, this is my budget. This is what I'm wanting to get out of it. Where can we meet in the middle? Because at the end of the day, it's your business.
Yeah.
And it's totally possible to find.
Yeah, well done. And so where do you see your business going now? You've gone from 1 to 1. You've then gone and scaled your business. You're working with multiple companies. You teamed up. You've also got an online platform. Where do you go next?
Honestly, I just want my course to grow. I want to be the person or your girl in the corner who's rooting you on, who's getting you through the next day, who's getting you to the next level. I still want to have 1 or 2 clients, but only my favorites, right? I only want to work with people who I really enjoy. So my next level will honestly be full course mode. And then some coaching if someone needs it. I'm always open, and like I said, I always love to have a conversation and to help someone grow. So my main love and my main focus will be helping and growing others.
Terrific. And so how do people find you, Bri?
Yeah. My favorite space is Instagram. You can find me at Bri_Cre8tiv. You can also find me on Pinterest, the Raxx Creative, and then of course my website, theraxxcreative.com.
Fantastic. Well, I'll have all of those details on my podcast platform, and I'm sure many people will be reaching out to you. I might even book you for some of my social as well.
Please do. Please do.
And I think your information's been really valuable, because I've been meeting with a lot of people, particularly in my program and just generally in business, who are like, oh, it's just so time consuming, so exhausting. Time is a big influential factor on, when you do get busy, those choices that you make. So I think, for people to know, there's there's companies out here who are doing what they love and are able to free you up for, less than you actually think. And it will give you so much value back into your business and life. And we're all about that. We're all about success, balance, and happiness are my 3 key words. And I can see they're resonating with you as well. And so, so I invite you all to reach out if that's something that you're needing. And thank you for being on my program today, Bri.
Yes, thank you so much. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.